Good afternoon and welcome. This is the beginning of our Distinguished Service Award ceremony, and I turn this over to Justice Slough.
Thank you very much, Chief. Our next honoree is also a recipient of the Distinguished Service Award for 2019. It is Judge Hilary Chittick. Judge Chittick presides in the Fresno Superior Court. She was the first ever female to hold the position of presiding judge in Fresno County Superior Court in 2007 and 2008. She has served as president of the Fresno County Women's Lawyers Association, chair of the Fresno Juvenile Justice Commission. She has served on many, many judicial council committees, too long to name. And most recently, I had the honor and pleasure to work with her when we made a presentation, and she talked about her work on the pretrial detention reform work group and spoke so eloquently and compelling to a group of judges on that topic. What I have to say on a personal note, though, is she went to college and played basketball. Okay, that's near and dear to my heart. I will not go one-on-one with her, but I'll go 2 against 2 with her on my team anytime. Judge Chittick, there's a video regarding your life. Thank you.
Hilary approached me asking to give up her trial court assignment so she could take over a drug court, which would necessitate her moving out of the chambers she'd been in for essentially her judicial career to a chambers deep in the basement of this building. That's the only courtroom that would accommodate the traffic for the drug court that she had in mind. And I quickly learned as presiding judge that when you say perhaps no, or when you say to Hilary, maybe there's another way to do this, she finds a way to prevail. And her creativity was sometimes beyond the capabilities of the court, which is to her credit, and only because of that is the success of the collaborative courts that she's created. She quickly let it be known that the drug court was just the first drop in the bucket on her collaborative court quest. The temperature in those courtrooms is much different than the temperature in what you describe as a regular courtroom. It is one of ambition and anticipation and hope.
Judge Chittick is a trailblazer. She has been the force behind the collaborative courts in Fresno County. The post-Prop 47 drug court, the behavioral health court, nor the Veterans Treatment Court would succeed without her extraordinary effort and her leadership. She truly cares what happens to people while they are in her courtroom and after they leave.
She's someone who's really done a lot with her time on the bench. Within the first 5-6 years of tenure on the Fresno Superior Court, she became the first woman presiding judge. Before that, she was one of the few women named partners in a law firm in the Central Valley. A lot of people become jaded. They give up. They forget. They say, you know what, this is not worth it. And she doesn't. This is her pride and joy. I mean, these are the folks that she dedicates her life to helping. And that's what makes her so very deserving of this award.
Outstanding work, Judge Chittick, and a word that cropped up was hope. And you definitely are the embodiment of that, and that is something that we need so much of these days. Here today with us is Judge Anna de Alba, also from the Fresno Superior Court, to present and honor Judge Chittick. Judge de Alba was appointed in October 2018 to the Fresno Superior Court, and I know you know how fortunate you are to have her as your mentor. Thank you for being with us today.
Thank you, Justice Slough. And yes, we are very fortunate. It is my honor to introduce the Honorable Hilary Chittick. Governor Davis appointed Judge Chittick on August 12, 2002 to the Fresno Superior Court. During her 17-year tenure, Judge Chittick has left an undeniable mark on the Fresno community. To say that she is a trailblazer would be an understatement. Over the next decade and a half, Judge Chittick started several very successful collaborative courts, including Veterans Court, Drug Court, and Behavioral Health Court. And equally impressive, Judge Chittick has run each of these courts continuously and with the unanimous support of all the justice partners and the community. But to truly understand why Judge Chittick is so deserving of this award, one should talk to the war veteran who has suffered bouts of depression, post-traumatic stress, insomnia, and severe anxiety, and who has used alcohol and drugs to self-medicate. This same veteran, who thanks to Judge Chittick's Veterans Court, is able to get the help that he needs to treat the underlying issues that gave rise to the addiction. The veteran who feels an obligation not to disappoint Judge Chittick since she has believed in him and who is working daily to turn his life around. One should also speak to the parents of one of the defendants in her behavioral health court, whose daughter has been in and out of jail for behavior that can be attributed to her mental health condition. For many of these parents, Judge Chittick begins to offer hope through her collaborative approach. The defendant is able to have a network of organizations working together to get her the treatment she needs to avoid reoffending. Or one should speak to a defendant in the drug court, many of whom, for the first time in their lives, have had someone take a genuine interest in what they are going through. Judge Chittick takes the time to speak to each individual defendant, explain what she expects, congratulate them for all victories, large or small. And as she has explained to me, especially in the beginning, just showing up is a victory. The desire not to disappoint her is so strong that many defendants continue to stay in the program because she believed in them. Finally, one should speak to a new judge like me, one who came to the bench with grandiose dreams of making the legal system accessible to all of those whom we were appointed to serve. A judge who sees her role as someone who ensures that the scales of justice balance and not tip in favor of those who are well-resourced. Seeing someone as respected as Judge Chittick ensure that those living in the fringes get their day in court, get the opportunity to be heard, and are held accountable in a manner which evidence-based practices support is inspiring. For all of these reasons, I ask you to join me in congratulating Judge Hilary Chittick for this award.
Chief Justice, members of the Judicial Council, thank you very much for this award. Thank you, Judge DeAlba, for those comments. 32 years ago, as a young criminal defense attorney, I was assigned to represent a man who burst into a local TV station and threatened the sportscaster with a toy gun to get him to read a religious screed on the air. When he was asked why, he said, "Of what earthly importance is the sportscast when people's eternal salvation is at stake?" Let me just say that's not a bad question. But as a basketball player and a sports fan, I was brought up short by this, and it started in me a lifelong fascination with mental illness in the criminal justice system. In his case, it was schizophrenia. Still today, I'm honored to be able to work with people in my court whose brains are not wired the same way as mine is, or maybe as some of yours are, who commit offenses, sometimes serious offenses, because of their mental illness or PTSD or addiction. It is a court rife with stigma, both for the people who come to the court and also, quite candidly, for the judges who preside over collaborative courts. And so this honor today is really taken, in a sense, on behalf of all the collaborative courts in the United States and those in California, which I'm more familiar with, for all of the hard work that those people do. This is the sort of court where an attorney whom I know sidles up to me at farmer's market and whispers, "Thank you for the work that you do. My daughter is addicted. Thank you for the work that you do. My son is bipolar. It's the sort of a court where, in walking down the hall, a court staff person whom I don't know turns and says to me, "I want you to know I'm praying for you. My son died of an overdose." It's the sort of a court where I get on the elevator and a court staff person gets on with me and bursts into tears. This is not normal for me. She says, "I want you to know that 2 years ago my dad graduated from your drug court and our family is back together because he is still sober." It's that sort of a court where a veteran, on his graduation from Veterans Court, we have a little public ceremony for the graduates, says, "For the first time in my life, I feel honorably discharged." So for me, this has been a tremendously rewarding journey. In the words of a famous theologian, this is a long obedience in the same direction. Much has been accomplished, and candidly, much remains to be done. I would be remiss if I did not thank my partners in this effort. Collaborative courts are a team. We have active in our collaborative courts in Fresno the Department of Behavioral Health, which provides clinicians, case managers, treatment providers, and others. And it says, as iron sharpens iron, one person sharpens another, and believe me, we fight about what ought to happen, and we managed to work it out, so it's wonderful. I also want to give special mention to Elizabeth Diaz, who is Fresno County's public defender, and Lisa Smitkamp, who is our district attorney. Those offices don't have enough lawyers to handle these calendars, and so they personally, the heads of the offices, handle calendars in some of those departments, which is a demonstration of their commitment. The probation department has had wonderful probation officers who've worked with me, and I would be especially remiss if I did not mention my staff. My judicial assistant and others put up with and facilitate what can graciously be described as my somewhat unusual ways of handling some cases. So they managed to get the minute orders to work right and everything. So thank you so much for this award, Chief Justice. I am really honored and humbled to receive it. Thank you. A little smaller than a basketball.
It is. Judge Chittick, I know that your brother, your sister-in-law, and your nephew are here, and I know they are indeed proud of you and really glad that they are on your family, in your family. Yeah. Thank you for all that you have done and you continue to do.